Beetlejuice Beetlejuice has been in the theaters for about a week now, and it's already surpassed globally the box office of the original film. A pull of $140 million. That's honestly a little insane to me. I knew Beetlejuice was a popular franchise, but man, the people came out for it. Previously, I would have guessed this would have been a one and done situation, but with this massive pull for the film, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Beetlejuice 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 in a couple more years. But today I want to spoil the crap out of the second movie, give you my thoughts on it. I mean, I liked it. I did like it, but it has plenty of problems. I'm going to go over the pros and cons in detail, and hopefully you stick along for the ride. Alright, before I get it, oh my god, Danny DeVito's over there dressed as what looks like a ghoul janitor. He's telling me you should subscribe to the channel because I post movie content, reviews, live streams, roasts every single week. Would love to have you stick around. Thanks, Danny. He's gone. His cameo's over. And that's about how long it lasted in the second film here. I was not expecting a Danny DeVito cameo, although I should have. He's worked with Tim Burton in several movies in the past. Batman Returns as the Penguin. He's got a character in Big Fish, a film I absolutely adore, and it was fun to see him again, even for a small amount of time. Typically, I like to go through the movie as close as I can to how it played out in the film, but I'm gonna have a hard time with this one because so much happens. Way too much happens. This movie is overstuffed with plots and with small scenes that don't really add up to much in the end. So if I miss stuff, 1,000 apologies from the bottom of my sack. I'll do my best though to conjure up my memory and see what we can come up with. Interesting and clever enough, this movie's main plot revolves around an actor who's not even in the movie. And yet he is in the movie quite a bit. Jeffrey Jones's character Charles is dead when this movie starts, tragically killed, not from a plane crash, but from a shark bite, eating the top half of his body, so he's just a walking torso for the entirety of the film. They did this because Jeffrey Jones has been in some hot water, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. You can Google Jeffrey Jones and see what he's been up to in the last decade or so. So in true Beetlejuice fashion, this movie's gonna revolve around death. Catherine O'Hara's back as Dahlia. I think that's how you say her name, Delia. I think it's Dahlia. She's not as over the top in this one. She's a bit more subdued, maybe from all those years of playing her character on Schitt's Creek. I don't know. Her performance isn't quite matching what it used to be. She doesn't have that youthful energy anymore. She's still fantastic, don't get me wrong, but you know, she's also a lot older and age does slow us down a bit. So I guess maybe that's fine. That's fair for the character. She also did just lose her husband. She's going to be opening up the house from the original film as sort of a mourning art motif. I can't remember the term she used, but basically it's a safe place to shed your tears and emotions. Unfortunately, Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin don't return either. Alex had his own share of problems in the last few years, but their absence is fine. Their story was told and completed, and so they moved on into the afterlife. It's mentioned that they found a loophole, and they were able to just get out of that house. Fair enough. Fine. Beetlejuice isn't grounded in any sort of reality. It's zany, kooky nonsense. It's shenanigans. I was just happy to see the cast return, and apparently audiences were as well. Now, before I progress any further, I should say personally, I'm not like a massive Beetlejuice fan. I saw the movie when I was young. I watched it again with my family a couple years ago. It's a fun, solid flick. I don't really think about it ever. I don't watch it over and over again. I know there's a big cult following that really loves Beetlejuice, and they've seen it 100 times or more, quote it from front to back. For them, this movie might not live up to the expectations, but for me, someone that appreciated the film, enjoys the creativity that it brought out and the originality that it provided, yeah, I was excited for more, and it did the trick the same way a lot of these legacy films do. I don't put much stock into them. You get the old characters back, you bring in new characters, you kind of relive the greatest hits, you maybe provide some new storyline, and then boom, we're out the door. This does that, and it works very effectively. I appreciate the practical effects, I appreciate the punchy colors, the modernization of Beetlejuice. It worked. It worked for me very well. So let's get back into the storyline, though. The death of the famous bird enthusiast brings us into our secondary plot, which is kind of the big one, but also really goes nowhere when all is said and done. And that's the reveal of Monica Bellucci's character Dolores. The first time we meet her, it's got a very Addams Family-esque introduction. Parts of her body come back to life, crawling out of suitcases and reattaching themselves, becoming the beautiful undead woman once more. She's pissed at Beetlejuice, the man that she used to love, even though she's also the one that killed him. There was a whole thing. Honestly, I forgot the reason why she had to kill him. She was a witch or something. She needed to ascend. That was all told through flashback. Probably the worst part of the movie. It's this black and white old school flashback with Beetlejuice and her showing their pretty awful honeymoon where she attempts to poison him. I mean, she does succeed, but not before he takes an axe and cuts her into pieces, which is why she's put into different suitcases. Even the underworld knows that she is a threat. She's a danger because this woman is a succubus. She can suck the soul right out of your body, killing the dead, which is... killing the dead. How is that even possible? It's possible in this. Which brings us to plot number 3. There are seriously 5 or 6 plots in this. Willem Dafoe is playing an actor named Wolf Jackson, and he's putting in his greatest performance yet as a rough and tumble detective. And so he's going to be on the trail trying to track down Dolores and all her misdeeds, stopping her before she can claim one more soul. Back in the land of the living, we're introduced once more to the lovely Lilia Dietz, played once again by Winona Ryder. I really enjoy what they did with her character in this one. She's very broken, yet strong enough to put on a brave face and have her own massive TV show. Very popular, her daughter can't stand her, but the fans love her. She does a series where she goes over hauntings, she communicates with the dead, unfortunately unable to communicate with the one that really matters, her deceased husband. Her daughter Astrid, who I mentioned just a second ago, played by Jenna Ortega, not thrilled with her mom, especially now that she's interested in a new man who also happens to be the producer on her show. That's Rory, played by Justin Theroux. Holy shit, there's a lot going on already in this movie. Justin Theroux is a con man, so to speak. He doesn't give a shit about this family. He's only in it for the money. That was my Bill Paxton Twister reference. Subscribe for that or something. I don't know. Let's keep going. I only saw this once, but I don't think it's ever made clear why Lydia cannot see or communicate with her dead husband. Maybe it was stated in a sentence or two when I got up to use the bathroom. I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever. It doesn't matter that much. Astrid's off at college. She's a freak show there. The kids make fun of her because they all know who her mom is and how her mom's a little crazy. And Lydia's truly kind of going crazy. She's now starting to see the Juice Man himself again. Beetlejuice is showing up in these random, quick hauntings. She hears him. She sees visions of him. They have a history. They have a connection. It's kind of like Kylo Ren and Rey. They have this beautiful force pulling them together. The Dietz ladies are going to hoof it up to Astrid's college, pick her up, and bring her to that quaint little Vermont town from the first film. It's there where we're going to get a lovely rendition by a boys' choir of Deo at the funeral, where his gravestone is his face on a shark fin. It's very tastefully done. So we're going to get that reference to the first film where they sing the song. We're going to get the scene where they're sad at the funeral. And then we're off to the races with our 5th plot, which is going to be the Astrid storyline. Astrid, miserable being back in this place. She's beelining it out of there. Hops on a bike, takes off like a bat out of hell, goes under that iconic red, bridge area where the couple in the first film died. And she's just all over the place. I thought she was going to die. Cars are coming out of nowhere. She smashes through a fence, but ultimately it's guiding her to the cute teen heartthrob of the film. His name is Jeremy, and he's just so dreamy. He's also dead. And this was a reveal that I didn't see coming. It was very cleverly put in the script because they kind of throw you for a loop. You're thinking the whole time Jenna Ortega's character is going to die, but then, she sees this boy hanging out in a tree house. Everything is fine. She found someone she can connect with. It was so obvious in hindsight that this was going to be the reveal. He was going to be dead. But because they framed it up in a way that had you worried about her, you took your eyes off the prize. You didn't think about him, or at least I didn't. It tricked me. It was easily the best moment of the movie when he levitates off the ground with her as they embrace in a kiss. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm dead. My parents died tragically, and I've been stuck here the whole time. But before we get there, we gotta back up quite a bit to Beetlejuice. We haven't even talked about this guy yet. What is the Juice Man up to? Well, he's keeping an eye on Lydia. He's got a bunch of Bobs working in a warehouse downstairs, and he's desperately trying to get his blushing bride back. She slipped out of his hands all those years ago, and suddenly an opportunity arises when he sees the death of Charles. He knows somehow he can utilize this to his advantage, but really he doesn't have to do much of anything because Justin Theroux's character, who I thought was pretty weak in this movie. I like almost everyone in this film except for Theroux. I thought they could have maybe cast better for this character. There was a funnier performance to come out of this. I wasn't getting it from this guy. Rory, not believing his now fiancé since he proposed to her during the funeral, real classy stuff, he decides in his infinite wisdom to conjure up Beetlejuice by saying his name 3 times. And now the juice is loose. He drops them down below. He starts freaking them out, sewing up the mouth, spilling his guts, quite literally, until Lydia Dorothy's her ass out of there by saying she wants to go home 3 times. But she's gonna come crawling back to him, because while she's doing this, her daughter's still making googly eyes with the dead boy down the road. The story he presents to her, though, not quite how it went down. It turns out he's actually a psychopath, and he killed both of his parents. There are also ghosts wandering the halls of the house still. Astrid's digging this guy, though, and doesn't find out that harsh reality until it's way too late. He convinces her to look through this book of spells, find a way to open up a doorway, which is going to allow her to pass into the world of the dead, thus allowing him to trade places with her. One life for another. These are the funnest parts of the film where they're running around in the Neitherworld, I think it's called. Neither here nor there. It's just this limbotic place. Limbotic? Limbo? Limbotic? I'm going to go with that. That's neither here nor there. That's just somewhere kind of in the middle. There's chase scenes, there's singing, there's dancing. She actually runs into her father while she's down there. He's got fish all over him. He was apparently killed by piranhas. Lydia's gonna find this out through her realtor, who spills the beans on what happened on that horrific night years ago with the boy and his parents. Lydia takes off to the house, knowing that her daughter's into some deep shit. Conjures up Beetlejuice again, making the deal that she made the first time around where she will accept his hand in marriage again if he helps save her daughter. He blows a hole into the Neitherworld. They go back there, and this is around the time we get to my favorite laugh out loud moment of the film, where Beetlejuice serenades Lydia with a Richard Marx song. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'll be here, right here, waiting for you. Whatever it takes. I'm done. It was funnier in the movie. When Beetlejuice blows open the wall, all the Bob workers run out and they make it into the real world. This leads to a couple shenanigan type scenes, some funny visual gags. Not much else takes place here. It's just not, the whole movie's nonsense. Lydia loses Beetlejuice, manages to find her daughter Astrid, and they make their way out of the Soul Train and into the Rings of Saturn Dune planet where there's the sandworms. And they're able to escape this because her father has been tracking her down and pulls them up at the last second. They get a nice little touching heart-to-heart moment with the dad. He lets her go. She lets him go. It's a very nice scene. And then we get to the final act, which is just a complete clusterfuck. Like, all of these plots just come to a head and they're resolved within like 5 minutes after a very extended church song. Back in the real mortal world, Beetlejuice is there. He sucks all of the audience into their phones because right now Lydia's supposed to be getting married to her fiance, this douchebag guy who doesn't really love her, just is in it for the money. That guy, remember him? I mentioned him. He sucks. Beetlejuice, not one to miss out on seizing an opportunity, gets rid of the wedding party, and he makes it a lot more quaint. He forces everybody to sing and dance, which goes on for like 4 minutes straight. Obviously, a callback to the first film's iconic moment on the stairwell where everybody's, dancing around and doing the thing. We do it again here. It's funny, it just lasts a little longer than I think it should. And this is finally where Monica Bellucci's character also shows up to try to stop the wedding. Her character is so unnecessary. And then Willem Dafoe's character shows up with the dead cops. these two characters could be removed from the story completely and nothing changes at all. And it's very clear nothing changes because as soon as they get there, they're easily disposed of. Beetlejuice freezes time, and Astrid draws a chalk outline into the floor, opens up a doorway, and a sandworm pops out and kills Dolores. Now, I'm not actually sure if Beetlejuice is the one that froze time or if it was Dolores. The powers, they confuse me. Again, it's all complete silly bullshit. It's just visually appealing and exciting, and you can't really think about any of it because none of it adds up at all. I don't know, like all she did was drew a chalk square and that conjured up a snake. If that's all it takes, then my kids should have been seeing sandworms for years when they were outside on the sidewalk on a hot summer day. We had that sidewalk chalk out. I know they made a couple squares. Maybe they said a passage from the book along with the drawing. I don't think they did, but everything moves so fast. And again, I'm not really hung up on it. I'm just explaining what happened in this film and why I could understand people not liking it. For me though, seeing mainly practical effects within the Beetlejuice universe, having Michael Keaton back with way more screen time than he did before, seeing those other original faces in the mix, it was nice. It was just a fun time. I'm pretty easy on legacy sequels for the most part. If they can get the basics right, present a pretty looking picture with a decent storyline and some good references, make it entertaining, I'm in. That's why I'm here. I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking from a sequel to a movie that came out in 1988 with the same characters. Sometimes people will say, well, Adam, Maverick managed to do it. And I say to them, yeah, Maverick's the same movie as the original. It's the same exact movie, just done way better. I wasn't a big fan of Top Gun. Never have been. Some people freaking love that movie. They eat that shit up. But Maverick took out like all the bullshit of the first one and made it cool. Oh my God, I forgot about Evil Jeremy, the boy that tricked Astrid to going down there to begin with. Yeah, he's killed super fast, insanely unceremoniously. He's running around. He thought he made the trick work to get onto the Soul Train, so he goes to get his ticket, but Beetlejuice is working. All Beetlejuice does is pull a lever. Jeremy goes to hell. That's it. He's gone, just like that. Doesn't have like a line of dialogue. Astrid doesn't say anything. Beetlejuice just up to his silly nonsense. He's like, see ya. See ya, buddy. Okay, so back to the ending. The evil's defeated. Catherine O'Hara, her character, I always forget how to say her name, reunites with Charles, and they head onto the Soul Train to live out the rest of their days in whatever, peace and harmony, I guess. Astrid owes her mom an apology, of course, for not believing her over the years, thinking she was crazy. And then we get this beautiful montage at the end I was not expecting, where her and her mom travel the world, see all the scariest places. Astrid falls in love, she gets married. Lydia's there watching the birth of her grandson as he spills out of her body, crawls up the side of the wall, projectile vomits, and is a baby Beetlejuice. Buy him in stores, kids. And then she wakes up from her nightmare. It was all a dream. But what a fun ending. I loved it. That was a great way to close things out. And I think that's a proper place to close this out. There you go. A playback of the film. My thoughts on the movie. For the most part, I had a fun time. It's just very messy. It's very sloppy. This was a wild ride, void of any real substance at all. Just a bunch of parlor tricks for my amusement sort of a thing. Let me know your thoughts on Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Put it in the comments below. Please like the video, and again, think about subscribing. I post new content every week here, multiple times. Would love to have you stick around. I have a brand new second channel, Adam Does Rants. It's more of this, but it's more comedy based. I'm ranting about first world problems, trying to make you laugh, maybe put a little sunshine in your day, keep it in your pocket, save it for later if you want. If you love what I'm doing, leave a super thanks on this video or become a patron at patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. And hopefully I see you next time. Take care.